What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, I wanted to talk about the PlayStation 5 and their strategy, basically. So what it seems like to me is that they're trying to copy exactly what happened last generation, PlayStation 4 generation. And while that seems like a good idea, it's not a good idea because all of the factors, all of the things that were present during that generation have changed. Nintendo Nintendo's kind of constant, but the Xbox side of things have changed. Game Pass is a thing that has changed the industry, and Xbox's popularity has changed, and exclusives have changed, and the desire for different types of games have changed for the consumer. And all these things that Sony is not adapting to is causing them to freak out a little bit. Now, they recently did a price drop in Europe, I guess, or was it? I don't even know if it was across the board, but they did a price drop to $49 or something, whatever the equivalent is over there. And they were, to me, they are trying to liquidate these old PS5s to wipe them out so that they have no more inventory for them. That way they can introduce the newer version of the PlayStation 5, which is, I would assume, has a slightly different look. Maybe it's a little bit smaller. Don't know. It should be smaller, but I think that's their strategy. It's not a really bad strategy per se, but it almost seems like they're doing it because it worked last gen. Well, last gen was a little different, but they're doing it because that's what we always do. This is what we do, and that's how it works. And I'm like, you're still selling the PS5. People are still buying it. You raise the price, and people are still buying it, unless you're telling us wrong numbers. Unless there's something fishy about what you're saying. Now, we all know that Sony likes to lie. They lie, lying, crying, dance moves. To Brussels flying, freaking video testifying Jim Ryan. He says a lot of things that aren't true. He says the things that you want to hear until he gets on the stand, and then he has to tell the truth. It's like, oh yeah, Starfield being exclusive, that's okay. I don't like it, but it's okay. There's nothing wrong with exclusives. He had to say that because that's what he does. And so everything that he has been saying behind closed doors, in front of closed doors, whatever, when he's on the stand, yeah, that's the truth. But also behind closed doors, that's the truth too. Not really. Like I said, he says what he needs to say in order to get through that particular instance, which many people do. It's not like a thing that, oh, he's evil because you say what you got to say, right? I mean, that's the type of person he is. If you lead a life like that, sometimes you gotta do some white lies to your shareholders to keep them happy and not freak out and fire you, basically. He's just trying to keep his job. I'm not trying to posit any type of empathy towards him because, look, he's a businessman. He's got plenty of money. I think he could afford to lose this job and find another job. Like anybody, whatever. But, he's been there for decades. Well, anyway, so the strategy, if you look at the overall strategy of PlayStation, it's not good. They have had more failures than successes this generation. Their hardware sales is the only thing that's a positive, right? But like I said before, I always say this, Nintendo messed the numbers up, and the NES, when the NES was out, they bought back some of their consoles and counted that as sales, basically. I think that's how it went down. I'm paraphrasing my memory, but I think that's how it went down. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think that's how it went down. I think they got criticized for that. I don't think anything happened. Maybe they paid a fine. I don't even know. But that's what I had heard. Anyway, what's to say that Nintendo's not doing that now or Sony's not doing that? Just to say that they won. They won. because they sell more consoles. But that's not the metric. That's not the metric anymore. And yeah, so they've had a lot of failures, Sony, in their hardware division. You know, you look at PSVR 2, failure. I know I've said this before. The Q Lite is going to be a failure because everybody's talking about it now and then. Nobody wants it. I mean, some people will buy it because it's morbid curiosity and they buy everything. They want all the gadgets, but realistically, what's that thing going to do? It's kind of dumb. I mean, I know they're pushing this initiative for cloud gaming, which is funny because if they would have done that before this whole trial, then that wouldn't even have been a thing for the CMA. It's like man, it's so crazy. So crazy. And the whole CMA stuff and the ABK deal, that's just a matter of time. We're just waiting for that to just really happen, you know. So Sony lost that, and I think that loss, that was a very big loss, and the loss of the ABK deal and how it went down, I think is going to be the pinnacle. It's going to be a turning point in the console wars, especially Microsoft versus Sony, Xbox versus PlayStation. It's definitely going to change the tide, or turn the tide a little bit as far as market share, you know, and that's it, even coupled with all the other games and studios that Microsoft has acquired. There's a bee inside of my car. That's okay. Bees are cool. As long as it's not a wasp. Anyway, so it's like they're kind of self-destructing in slow motion, if you will. Now, things like this don't happen overnight. It's going to take a long time for Sony's demise to happen. Oh, it flew out. And I think the next step in their downfall will be the failure of all of these games as service games. Now, maybe one of them or two of them, maybe, hopefully one of them, I know they're hoping, hopefully one of them will be successful so that they can make money. What they're trying to do is make up the money that they're losing from ABK, which is 1.5 billion a year or something like that. I don't know how they're going to do that. And they're spending all this money on these games to make them. They have to recoup that too. So it doesn't seem like there's a winning strategy in sight for them, because they haven't been able to capture that audience, that games of service. They've failed at that for decades, and so Bungie's not gonna help them. Anyway, this is all stuff I've said before, but I mean, hit me up in the comments below. Let me know if you think the status quo for how Sony has been doing their business is good enough with the change in landscape, with games like Baldur's Gate 3 coming out. That's not a PlayStation game. That's a PC game. That's a CRPG. That is literally Dungeons and Dragons. That is not anything that PlayStation or PlayStation gamers, Ponies and Knocky Unicorn, they never ever played that. And I want to shout out to the people, you guys in the comment section. You guys, my last video when I did Starfield versus Baldur's Gate 3, and you guys were paraphrasing, who gives a shit, apples and oranges, you know, things like that. And let me say this, I agree 100,000%. The reason why I did that video and why I put it that way, posited it that way, is because it's about the donkey unicorns and the ponies coming at it like, oh, it's an exclusive, oh, it's this and that. They don't even like those games. That's not the type of game, generally speaking. I know generalization is not a good thing to do, but that's not the type of games they play. So when they're capping for it, it's like, what are you doing? We see through what's going on because y'all are hurt bad, you're down bad, and you're trying to grasp at any W that you think might be a W that you can. Here's the bottom line with the whole Starfield versus Baldur's Gate 3. What is happening? The delay of Baldur's Gate 3 from Xbox is perfect because they don't want to compete with Starfield. Starfield is going to destroy anything within its circumference. That's how good it is. That's how hyped it is. And all these people, it was Lord Attic, I think, on Lord's podcast, Iron Lord's podcast, and he was like, I ain't see no commercials on Starfield, this and that and the third. I'm like, and then he says, oh yeah, but I got YouTube Red, so I don't see any commercials. I'm like, you don't see any commercials for Starfield because you don't see any commercials, period. So what are you complaining about not seeing commercials when you don't see no commercials? It's so stupid. It's so stupid. No make no sense. And then King says, well, I'm broke. I see commercials of Starfield all the time. I just saw one today. I'm talking for me now. I saw one. I was like, oh, it's on Twitter. I went X, whatever. I scrolled. I was like, oh, let me check that out. I saw it, and it was the Samsung commercial. I was like, oh, yeah, that's a cool commercial, you know. So, and then now they have a chair, Starfield chair. I'm like, okay, I'm not getting that. I got the controller. That's it. I ain't getting no. I already got 2 of those headsets. I don't need another one. Anyway, yeah, people are just down bad. They're trying to, create a narrative that, suits their side of the console war. And I'm implicit. That's the word. I participate in the console war only because of how PlayStation fans treated Xbox fans last generation. Not because I don't want Sony to do anything good or anything like that, although their management right now is a little sus. And why aren't the ponies and the donkey unicorns calling to, well, actually they did say something about firing Jim Ryan about a while ago, but it should be every day they're saying this because he's been failing. He's got a bunch of L's as CEO. Who knows? But anyway, let me know in the comments below the state of Sony, how they're doing business. Do you think they can maintain without changing fundamentally, like saying first, day one in PS Plus and stuff like that, to be a parity with what the competition is offering? I don't know. It comes down to psychology for them. They need to figure out, how they want to do business and how, if that business is going to work for them. They're still on the old console sales thing, and while that works, the industry is too big to be like, oh, console sales, because it's not just a PlayStation business. It is video games. And if you say, okay, we're gonna concentrate on putting our game everywhere, PC, all these handhelds and everything, then it's not about selling PlayStations anymore. It's about selling your games to everybody. You look at freaking Rockstar, Grand Theft Auto, or the Red Dead Redemption recoloring. I don't know what they're gonna call the game, but they sold 55 million Red Dead Redemption. I think the first game, Red Dead Redemption. And I'm like, that's a lot for like one game. And I don't know how many million they've sold of GTA 5, but it's more than that, obviously. And so that's what Sony should be striving for, not, oh, let's sell consoles. Because if you do it that way, this is what's happening with Sony right now, you're not going to get past 20 million sales because it's exclusive and people aren't going to buy 500 million PlayStations. Your cap is at 150 if you're lucky. I'm going to say 100. For the PlayStation 5, 100. Their numbers are ridiculous. They said, oh yeah, we will probably for the next fiscal 25 million PlayStation. I'm like, huh? And then they later say, oh yeah, we're a little bit behind. I'm like, yeah, no kidding. Because you're not going to sell 25 million. So I don't know why you say that. You're just setting yourself up for failure. But, whatever. I'm not a businessman. That's their business. They want to, do that. That's fine. But, and yes, they did expand to PC, but it's like, they ain't doing it right. They're not doing it right. They need to treat PC just like a PlayStation. The PC gamers that will play PlayStation games are not buying a PlayStation 5. They're not going to buy a PlayStation. They're PC gamers. So you need to cater to the people who are PC that will not even touch a console, regardless of who makes it. But they don't see that. They don't understand. They don't see the value of PC gaming. I mean, they do now. They're trying to tap into it, but they're doing it in an ass backwards way. Like, oh yeah, let's wait a year and then it's gonna be. And so all the parties like, yeah, y'all gotta wait a year, ha ha. I'm like, what are y'all are dumb. Why are you bragging about getting an exclusive Meanwhile, it's hurting your company that you love so much. You love them. They're number one, but they could be way further number one if they would actually do what they need to do, but they're not doing that. So, but it doesn't matter anyway. I appreciate y'all hanging out. Y'all like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 500. I'm at 358. That's not a lot. I'm still working on the song. Don't worry about it. I said I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it. And yes, I've been delaying, and that's my bad. But I'm gonna get it done. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be tight. I like the song. It's a pretty good song. I must say. And yeah. It's coming. Don't worry about it. I got others. Anyway, thank you. Preach. And I'll see you on the next one.